the work. So I want to welcome everybody to the BART Small Business Support Services Invoicing Workshop. This is a post-award workshop. Of course, our program has two parts, the pre-award side and the post-award. Next up is one of our team members, Michael Reyes, who will give you some information about housekeeping and our online etiquette for the afternoon. Michael, are you there?
Sorry, I'm here. Somehow it disconnected really quick here, but I'm back on. All right, excellent. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're a little faint, but I can hear you.
Okay, excellent. So for everyone's knowledge, this is of course a Zoom video platform. We want to make sure that you mute yourself when you're not speaking so you don't hear background noises, which you might be hearing on my end. I'm outside today. But be mindful of it, limit your distractions, get the most out of today by avoiding multitasking and just applying some focus. And next slide, please, Harry. And if you can, go ahead and here's some little instructions on how to change your name on the Zoom platform. It's great for us to see what your company name is, your name and your company name, so that way we can address it as we're looking through the participants. So here's some quick instructions. You can hover over the participants icon on the Zoom bar. And when you do that, the menu on the right side of the participants list will give you a choice to rename your profile. So once you do that, you want to enter your name, dash or slash your company name so that we can see it. And then off that, with that being done, you can just click OK. I'll give you guys a few minutes if you want to take a minute to do that. If it's too complicated, don't worry about it. It's not mandatory, but it's always good for us to be able to see who's attending. Okay, next slide, Harry. Okay, and that being said, let me introduce my colleague from our post-award, our project administrator from the post-award side, Mr. Harry Overstreet II. It's all yours, Harry.
Thank you. It would help if I'd unmute myself for starters. So I'm just going to give a brief overview of the Small Business Support Services of the program as a whole. The goal of our program is to increase the pool of qualified small businesses that are bidding on BART contracts. As part of our pre-award goal, our post-award goal is to provide technical assistance to help companies be successful. And there are a lot of procedures and requirements and processes that we're able to help with. Some of those on the post-award side, dealing with contract supplementary conditions, scheduling coordination, invoicing, and progress payment. Of course, that's what we're going to address tonight. We're going to touch on the change order process. All of these are procedures that we can assist with. The way our program works is key to our program is our ability to communicate with the BART management, the CM teams, general and subcontractors. So our program is unique that we have the ability to communicate with all parties pretty much involved in the construction process. Our technical assistance is provided in a one-on-one basis or to a group. We're very flexible. Of course, in COVID, we went online, as the world did. And again, these are some of the documents and things that we can help with. And so with that, I want to get to the meat of our presentation. So Larissa Teku Ayu is our engineer with the Allen Group. up-and-coming engineer, and we're happy to have her as a part of our program. She is a technical specialist, and now is Larissa to talk about the agenda and the rest of the workshop.
Thank you, Harry. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Larissa, and I'm an office engineer with the Allen Group. I'll be talking about the invoicing and progress payment processes today. And today's agenda includes discussing the subcontractors' duties, bid development, progress payments, change orders, and at the end, we'll have some time for a short Q&A. So feel free to let me know at any points if you think that I'm talking too fast or if anything is unclear. Next slide, please. All right, so first discussing subcontractor duties. It's expected that all the work performed is of the highest quality, and it should be done according to the requirements outlined in your subcontract with the general contractor, which should also respect all the requirements in the BART contract specification and any applicable standards. So just like the general contractor, you must pay all your workers not less than the prevailing wage, rate of wages, and it's as stated in the state labor code. All the subcontractors must also submit the certified payroll reports weekly. So this is a very important point because we'll be mentioning it multiple times during this workshop because it's one of the main documents that's included in the pay app that the contractor submits to BART for approval. Next slide, please. So you must also be keeping records of labor, showing information of the type of work that was done and by who, each calendar day and each calendar week. You are requested to prepare acceptable invoices to submit to the contractor for any contract work or change of work. Also really important because they must include your invoices in their invoice to BART. So it'll be preferable if these are sent in a timely manner so that everyone can get paid on time. The subcontractor is also responsible, just like the contractor, to pay all the taxes and comply with all tax laws. You can read more on that in the general conditions, which is basically what was used to produce this presentation. You must include all in your subcontract, the provisions in the supplementary conditions regarding the submittal of payroll records on the BART designated website. Next slide, please. Next, please. So for the bid development, when calculating the bid prices for any contract, you must take into account the time it'll take to complete your work, the cost of labor, as mentioned before, not less than the prevailing rate of wages, material and equipment costs, and any overhead and profits. One second, sorry. Sorry, that cut off. So the basis of your bid must be either items that are lump sum, which is the total cost of your activity, or a unit cost. So some examples include linear foot of concrete sidewalks or 12 units of pool boxes. Next, please. So BART insurance requirements. So every contract has insurance requirements, and they may either be owner provided by BART or contractor provided. So the insurance requirements are usually described in the supplementary conditions that you'll find in your specific contract. So you may need to review that for any specific requirements. Some may require to take the owner controlled insurance program, like for the earthquake safety program, or some may require the contractor to get their own insurance. Next slide, please. So now for the submittal of certified payrolls, currently BART uses the Elation system. The website is elationsys.com. listed here, and all tier subcontractors are required to submit their certified payroll records on this website weekly. And the contractors, the general contractor is responsible for registering all the subcontractors on this website no later than 7 days after the notice to proceed. This is really important because if the subcontractor is not registered there and you send them an invoice, they may not accept it because you're not in the database. Also, you must submit your certified payroll records weekly, regardless of whether or not work was performed until your contract or your work is completed. So for weeks where there was no work performed, you must submit a no work performed report. Next, please. So this is just an example of a payroll reporting form. Yeah, it may not be too clear, but basically it has information on the person that was performing the work, their name and address, the type of work they were doing, as well as the number of hours worked, and the hourly rates and any deductions and contributions. Next, please. So for progress payments, these are the first two bullets are just rule of thumbs that they try to agree to make sure everyone is paid on time. But usually there's a pencil draw by the 15th or the 25th of the month with the expected progress through the end of the month, and the agreement between the general contractor and the RE by the 25th of the month, so they can submit the final progress payment by the end of the month. So the general contractor is required to submit information regarding the payments to subcontractors on the OCR tracking system, which is called B2G now. And again, this is an also important aspect because if that information is not up to date with the most recent payment, they may not approve the future or current payment application for any work that was performed after. Next, please. So continuing, so the general contractor must also include, as mentioned before, the subcontractor's invoice in the payment application no later than 30 days after they receive such invoices. And all BART contracts are required to respect the California Public Contract Code, and they must make payments to the contractor no later than 30 days after they've submitted that approved payment application. So subsequently, the contractor must pay all subcontractors no later than 7 days after they've received payment from BART. Next slide, please. So as for the subcontractor's responsibilities for invoicing, you must keep account of any construction or work progress, monthly billings, whether it's lump sum by the lump sum method or unit prices. And to prepare your monthly invoice, you must it must be based on your schedule values. So showing the percent complete from the lump sum item or the number of units installed or complete that were accepted. And also, again, include your certified payroll reports to be reviewed. And if applicable, if the contract requires an owner-controlled insurance, then BART may have some requirements to update that document online periodically. Next slide, please. So invoicing, the general conditions section 9.3.1 shows you how to calculate the costs that must be included in your invoices. So for labor, you must include the actual wages and any labor surcharge. The percentages are shown in the general condition section shown below. Next slide, please. So, next slide. It's the same one. Thank you. And for the materials, it'll be any delivered cost to the purchaser, which may be the subcontractor or the contractor, and you must also supply the invoices for the materials that were used. And for the equipment rental, it'll be based on the rental rates in the labor and surcharge equipment rental document. So that document is actually easily found online. It's updated yearly. So you can easily Google it and find it. It's free and accessible to everybody. Next, please. Change orders. These are for pricing or agree to price for change, new work. These are usually initiated by the owner in this case, which is BART, and similar to the bid price, they can be either lump sum or unit prices. The subcontractor may submit any change order proposal to the general contractor, and your invoices for the change order must be a separate line item. Next, please. So for any change order work for which price or cost hasn't been agreed to yet, you may fill out the force account form as shown on the left. So these force account reports must be signed daily by the general contractor and will be verified by BART. Next slide, please. This is another daily force account report form. So this will be used to check the general contractor and subcontractors' time and material sheets. So these sheets must be signed daily. It's used to verify the equipment costs, again, using the Caltrans equipment rental rates as a reference, verifying the rental invoice costs. And also, again, this can be used to input information into your certified payroll reports. Next slide, please. And to circle back on the definitions, so the change notice usually comes before the change order, and it's BART's promise to pay and issue a change order. And there are 3 types. So the first one is a cost proposal only, and that is requires the contractor to submit a cost proposal to BART, and it must be approved or agreed to before any work can begin. And the second type is a notice to proceed, not to exceed. That's usually where you will find the force account work, where force account work will be performed. And that usually happens when a final cost hasn't been agreed to, but the work has to be performed right away. So they may set a cost amount not to exceed while you're performing work, but usually if the cost reaches 75% of that amount, you must notify the resident engineer. And finally, the last step is an allowance change notice, which basically gets the cost from the allowance bid item as shown in the bid schedule. So for change orders, they're usually related to the change notice, and they usually have the same number. And subcontractor invoices must reference the change notice to know what kind of work was performed and where the cost is coming from. And the general contractor cannot invoice to BART any change order work until that change order is confirmed, which means that it's been reviewed and approved by all BART stakeholders involved. So next slide, please. So this is the end of the presentation. This slide shows a list of the general and supplementary conditions that was used as a reference in this whole workshop. So please feel free to go back and review them for additional information on everything mentioned in this presentation. And yeah, this is the end. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Larissa. So are there any questions?
Yes, I have a few questions. One, I'd like to get a copy of those BART forms for T&M tags, I think.
Okay.
The second question on the slide is there was made mention that the subcontractors is responsible paying all employees' taxes. So I'm doing a project right now that I'm not understanding why I cannot invoice for my taxes. My responsibility to pay the taxes. BART is saying that they want to pay the base pay of my employees, which leaves me to have to eat up the taxes. So I'm wondering, why is that?
I can't explain exactly why. So wait, let me first answer the first question. You asked a question about where to find the forms. So usually you should be able to get the forms from the CM team members if you request them. And
Okay.
secondly, for the taxes, it's just a requirement in the general conditions that says that you're responsible for paying all your taxes, obviously from the amounts that you get paid from BART, and that the tax amount is already assumed to be included in the bid, the total bid cost. So that's in the general conditions.
Well, let me make, I didn't let you know, Lasara, that this was on a T&M tag. And the contractor forwarded our tags, and BART rejected it, saying that they only going to pay for the actual labor and benefits. And that's what I'm not understanding about it, because when I look through the specs, it always mentioned that what you showed on one of the slides, that your bid supposed to be include labor, material, equipment, overhead, taxes, everything. So that's what I am having a problem with right now, that my T&M tags that we just redid again, just so we can get some type of monies back to recover. And I did let the contractor know that I am putting it up under protest, because the form I fill out is saying wages and taxes, and BART rejecting that. So basically, out of something like 30 T&M tags, Brown 3 Plumbing is losing like a little over $4,000, which is saying that Brown 3 is eating the company's responsibility to pay or match Social Security and employment taxes. And so I like, maybe you all can't answer it now, but I would like to have an answer.
So can I take that question on?
Sure,
This is
go ahead,
Vanessa.
Vanessa. Yeah.
This is Vanessa. So in the general conditions, Article GC 9.3.1 describes what is included in labor. And the labor costs include the actual wages, all right, including health, welfare, pension, and vacation. So your wage rate that you show on your T&M tags will include the base pay rate, the contribution for health, for pension, for vacation, for training, and for other, and that will be a total. To that, you will add the labor surcharge, which is half of whatever Caltrans labor surcharge is during that period. Currently, that's 5%. And then you get to mark that up either 20% or 22% based on whether you have an OSIP contract, when it would be 20%, or a if you're providing your own insurance, then it's 22%. And that's the contractual limit to what BART pays as far as wages. And that's gonna be your base rate, health, pension, vacation, training, and other. And that's it. You gotta pay the FICA and all that other stuff. BART doesn't pay that.
Okay, then.
That's on 9.3.
Yeah, right, Vanessa. What you said, that's what we had to do. But, you know, I don't think it's right. I mean, because that little markup's not even nowhere near what the company has to be responsible for the required by law to pay the tax burden on their employees. So yeah, we did that. What you said, Vanessa, I saw it and I read it, but you know, I don't think it's right that BART, because like I said, $4,000 is a lot of money, especially for a small business. So, okay, thank you for answering that.
You're very welcome, Mr. Brown. You're very welcome. I don't know if anybody else might have had any comment on that in relation to that, but I guess not. So, were there any other questions?
No, that was the main one that I wanted to participate in this meeting because of the change orders. Because this project is having a lot of change orders. There's a lot of things that I guess they didn't see or couldn't first see. So, you know, like I said, it's just one of these projects got already see it's going to be change orders from now to it ends. You know, so
Sure. I think that's good.
My thing is, Harry, is that I'm beginning to be like, I really don't want no more T&Ms because we're not even making no money. My employees making money, but the company's not making money. And that's what I'm having a problem with. And that's what I'm not understanding why BART doesn't even see that, because especially now, and I think everybody in this whole meeting already know, ever since this COVID, and even though it's getting relaxed, everything's gone up.
Sure.
And so it's getting to the point where the T&Ms are not even worth doing. And then at the same time, I'm locked into a contract. So I'm actually losing money every time I do a T&M tag. And that's why I wanted to get in this meeting, because it was something about change orders.
Absolutely.
Because like I said, what Vanessa said was right, but everybody knows that little percentage is nowhere near. So like I said, my employees are making money. My vendors are making money because I have to get material, but Brown 3 Plumbing's not making no money on those T&M tags. So that's my beef with BART right now. I'm losing money, and this 19th Street project, this 19th Street BART project is really, really putting a little toll on me, because like I said, every change order that I'm doing, I'm losing money.
Okay. I'm not sure why you're losing money on change order work, on time and material. I'd have to ask some of our folks, but I think it seems to me there should be something missing, but I'm not the expert in understanding exactly why that is.
Yeah, Harry, I like I said, Vanessa just said the percentages.
Yeah.
That's not enough money to run a company. You know, I mean, like I said, whatever, let's say if anybody got a calculator in front of them, let's say I pay an employee, which this is just example, $50. Times that percentage rate, That's nothing. That's totally nothing. So, you know, like I said,
Can I ask, is this a service contract or are you a subcontractor under someone?
I'm a subcontractor. I'm a third tier subcontractor
Okay,
doing the plumbing.
okay. Just the only thing that can come to mind that I can think of is it possible that you maybe underpriced yourself for?
No, because like I said, myself and my wife,
Mhm.
we go right down the line. We pay when we do our payroll reporting, like, and so if I'm paying my plumber on the site and that markups and everything, when everything is said and done, there's no profit. There's no profit, and really it doesn't even cover the overhead. That overhead allowance is really a joke. It really is. I mean, especially nowadays. I mean, really, that's less than a dime on the dollar. So, you know, like I said, we're not making no money.
Terry, this is Michael. Can you
Yes.
hear me okay?
Yes.
My laptop's about to die, but what I'd like to do is maybe you and I can go over this and maybe have a discussion, then bring Brown 3 into the discussion. I just kind of think we could look at this closer.
Sure.
And it sounds like there's some tax confusion and maybe a formatting. I'm curious to see what the change order document looks like in terms of the breakdown of, you know, the taxes, the overhead profit, stuff like that. Maybe we can kind of bring some things into more clarity.
No,
Well, I
absolutely.
would appreciate that if you all would look into it or we get into it, you know, because like I said, I have well over 30 T&Ms. Proban is just now resubmitting them because what we actually sent in, they rejected and they wanted to do what Vanessa just explained. And so when my wife and I looked at it, it was like another $4,000 is gone. And so, like I said, like I said, I just now picked up some more T&M tags, and I'm getting to the point where I don't want to do them, but I'm bound by the contract. So, you know, it really puts me in a hard spot right now.
Okay.
And like I said, some of my T&Ms, now, they're dated back in December 2020, and I'm in June, really July 2021. So that's another thing that's really putting pressure on a minority-owned contract as well. The T&Ms don't get paid just as fast as the regular monthly billing for the invoicing that was already explained today.
Yeah, this is Tim Lorenz. I'm like Fred, I'm with the Office of Civil Rights at BART, and I think we can do a little bit of searching within BART, talk to our accounts payable and talk to the legal office to see if BART is bound by state law in how it treats time and material contracts, or if there's some discretion where it could decide to count the subcontractors' tax obligations, and we can try to see what's behind that practice. So maybe that could be, you know, if there's potential to change that or not. So I'd also like to make a couple other comments. That one is the importance for subcontractors to participate in BART's B2G Now system to verify your payments. And that's really a way to protect yourself, so that if there is any dispute, there's a record of when you were paid, how much you were paid, and you can verify that, or you can dispute it on B2G Now. And so that's I think a really important tool that really serves subcontractors. And then second, the other thing is to make sure you know about the prompt payment law in California, that you should be paid 7 days, within 7 days of when the prime contractor is paid by BART or any other public agency. This is part of the Business and Professions Code 7108.5. And the penalty is 2% of whatever that month's billing is. So if you billed $10,000 that month and the prime contractor is more than 7 days, takes more than 7 days to pay you, you legally can make a claim for 2% of that $10,000. In other words, $200. If they're late another 30 days, you can make another claim for 2%, or in this case, $200. So that's an important protection for subcontractors as well. It doesn't even come close to covering your costs if you aren't paid within, let's say 30 days. But at least there's something there that protects the subcontractors. So
I appreciate that, Tim, but my regular invoicing every month, as far as my actual contract on the 19th Street BART station, it has been paying on time. What I'm saying is the T&Ms, because the project must keep going on. It's just like what Larsanya was saying, that these T&M tags are going to, or change orders, or change orders are going to keep going because they want the project continue. But what I'm saying is the change orders, I have a lot of change orders that haven't been paid since December 2020, and we're halfway out of another year, about ready to go on another whole year. That's one of my problems. The second problem I'm having is, like I said, the markups on the to do T&M up on a forced account is not enough to cover to stay in business. Because like I said, my employees are making money. My vendors who supply the plumbing pipes and everything, they make the money. But when my bottom line, when I go, me and my wife look at our Excel sheet, we're losing money. And then on top of that, they're not paying on time. So it makes me put in a hard spot, because now my resources are getting smaller and smaller. So that's what I'm saying. But I appreciate, Tim, what you explained, but my regular invoicing every month on my base contract is getting paid. It's my T&Ms and my markups is hurting.
So that's well, I mean, we'd be happy to work with you more and to see if there's any way we can help the situation just as a whole. I mean, of course, the rates and things needless to say, there's nothing that we can do about the particular rates. But in terms of even just getting those submitted, I mean, if you've got T&M tags that are, did you say a year old or 6 months old? And
Yeah.
I mean, is that? I mean, I don't know if those services have been billed or anything, but perhaps that's something that you can complete and an invoice for, and at least that cost.
We turn in those T&M tags, but what I'm saying is we haven't gotten paid for. We haven't gotten paid for it. It's not like Brown 3 Plumbing is not doing our T&M tags, or because I'm trying to get the T&M tags out faster than my guys can get the work done.
I see.
So we can get paid. I mean, you know, we're paying our employees and everything, but we want to get paid.
Of
So
course,
that's
of course.
that's my problem is, you know, the system seems like, oh, we want the job construction done on time and then on, but at the same time, we don't want to pay the T&M as fast as we pay what's on the contract. It seems like the T&Ms are pushed way to the side, but yet they want the work done fast. That's what I'm saying.
So, Mr. Brown, are you submitting those T&M tags as an invoice, or are you just submitting the tags? Because what happens is, yes, you submit the tag to the contractor, but then you have to put those tags together
Right.
in an invoice and submit it as an invoice, and then he can pay you. But he can't just pay you off of the tag itself. It has to be put together in a package as an invoice that you can add in with your regular monthly invoice, and then he could pay you.
So was that Vanessa?
It
Was that-
was.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes.
Yeah, Vanessa. So my T&M tags are getting signed, and Brown 3 Plumbing is invoicing those tags. So yes, I'm getting my tags signed off by the contractor representative and the CM team on the job saying, yes, they were here today and this is what they did, whatever. And then we turn around with that tag, then we invoice. So that's what I'm saying. I'm doing both. We're doing everything, but we're not getting paid. But I understand what you're saying. Yes, we're doing both of them. We're getting the tags done and we're invoicing.
And they're rejecting your invoice for the T&M?
Yeah, BART just now got with us 2 weeks ago on T&M invoices that was done back in November, December, January, February. And they were saying, no, you cannot put your tax burden on these. You have to put the regular rate like you report on the Elations. So we had to do them all over again. Then we sent them back last week. We just sent them all back last week, revised, according to what BART's saying. Well, Brown 3 Plumbing, we don't pay your tax burden. That's where that was. So now it's like, okay, this is mid-June. We're gonna see how long will BART turn around and pay the contractor, pay Brown 3 Plumbing for the extra work. So that's what I'm also saying tonight is, okay, BART, you on the clock. I did what you said. I redone all my invoices. The burden of labor is off. And we're gonna see how long they're gonna pay till we get paid. But that's why I'm like, and then at the same time, I'm still obligated on the other side of my base contract to do too.
Okay.
Hey, Harry, this is E-Man with Q4.
Hello, E-Man.
Can I say
How are you?
something? Good. I can relate to what he's talking about. Just imagine, just put yourself in his shoes as a subcontractor or as an owner or as a business person. You have a base contract, for instance, 100,000, and he's doing T&M material, T&M work for BART for additional work in December 2020. Let's assume his work for T&M for December is $5,000. January 2021, $5,000. He paid his employees out of his pocket, financed that labor work.
Right.
It's out of his payroll. He's already paid him. And he bought material to do that work for December last year, January this year, February, March. It adds up. And now he marks it up 22%. They reject it. Just think about that. He's going to carry that for 6 months, and he's doing his prime work, base work already. That is not fair. And that's what he's talking about. He's saying that he's paying out of his pocket, paying the material. The material is because when somebody works for you, you pay him that week. The next week is gone out of your account. So he's carrying that burden, Even if you mark it up at 22% and you get it in June, it's still bad business for him. So there must be a timely fashion to make sure T&M tags and change orders are paid promptly. Because when you give us notice to proceed to do the work, force account, we finance it. When you get paid, your check has to clear the next week. Your vendors get paid, you buy materials, plumber, pipes, or whatever. You pay them out of your credit card or whatever. They get their money. The owner carries that burden for 90 days, 6 months, and it adds up and adds up and adds up. He's saying there's no need doing it. Like for me, I don't want to do change order work. Let's have somebody else do it.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. That's why I was saying it's getting to the point where I'm bound by the contract that I signed with ProBand that I have to do this, but at the same time, BART is breaking me.
Well, William, Mr. Brown, let me introduce you.
And they act for disadvantaged businesses. This is how this game is being played. I mean, on both sides of the spectrum. Because like I said, come June, it's only 6 more months, and I carried these these extra force accounts for almost a year.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of things I want to recommend. First of all, I mean, and when you have an issue like that, I mean, and you can always reach out to us, first of all, so we can either look into it, and whenever there's a prompt payment issue, I immediately relay that over to Tim, if it's his project, to Fred on his project, because prompt payment, of course, is out of the scope of what we can do. So we have a regular relationship. So whenever there's something, whenever you have a question about that's back like that, the 6 months, please reach out to me, and I'll reach out to Tim or Fred, or if it's one of Stella's projects, whoever the contract compliance analyst is, to try and find out, where the project, where the payments are, find out if that work was in fact paid.
Yeah, Harry, I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody on this team. It's not about my base bid contract.
Sure.
I'm getting paid on that on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying tonight is to the team is the force accounts, change notice, and change orders, and my invoices. That's the problem, because it's taking too long. It's taking too long.
I mean, I could be wrong, and somebody could always correct me, but I think with the change orders, there's a way to track down and see if the work has been billed and has been paid. And I think that's the first step, is to find out if that work that you performed and billed for has been invoiced and paid.
I don't know that. I don't. There's no way of me knowing that. All I know is I did my part as far as doing the force account, doing the tags, then doing the invoices, and turning it into the contractor.
Yeah.
So I don't have no way of following when it was put in the system or anything.
I understand. Well, I think that's something that we can help you with. I think if we sit down, if we meet, and you give us, a list of, the change orders, or, a description in a way that we can trace them back to the project, we can find out, the status of kind of what the change orders are, and try and get an idea of what's owed. And if I'm speaking incorrectly, I mean, please correct me, either Vanessa or Tim, but I believe that's an approach that I can take to try and find out where you are in terms of, and to help the process. So I'll do that.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Absolutely, and we'll have to set up a meeting to meet separately and talk about that and get the details on exactly which change orders you're referring to.
Okay, then. All right.
I was going to introduce you to E-Man. He's both of you are subs to Proven. on different BART station projects.
Oh, okay then.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Something common.
Yeah.
Common. I'd like to thank, I guess, Cindy with Inspection Services. I don't want to ignore any of the subs who joined our workshops. I'd like to thank you for attending. And then I see there's a phone number that I don't recognize, 510-900-2100. Might I ask who that is, if you represent a company? Okay, well then perhaps we'll get an answer another time. So I think that's it. I think we've heard from the small business, unless there are any other questions. And of course, please feel free to reach out to us separately with any questions, period. Anytime. And if that's it, then I want to thank everybody for their participation. Thank you, Tim and Fred and everybody, Stella, everybody else.
Thanks for having us,
And
sir.
we will post this workshop on the website.
All right. Thank you all too. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Good
Thank you,
evening.
everybody. Yeah.